Hello and a very warm welcome to the Queen channel. So reportedly, Prince Harry is figuring out some new plan. He is all poised to cancel his UK trip for the Invictus Games service over security concerns. Previously, Harry has blamed Meghan for being scared of these security issues, but the situation has become pretty clear. The person behind all these nonsensical statements is none other than Prince Harry himself. For specific details, please watch the whole video. According to a source, Harry, the Duke of Sussex, is engaged in discussions right now regarding his attendance at the May 8th service at St. Paul's Cathedral, thanks to security concerns. Well, considering the ongoing security issues that Harry has been facing, he's considering participating in the Invictus Games 10th anniversary service through a Zoom call or a pre-recorded message. And this decision is coming after a recent legal setback concerning his security arrangements in Britain. But his ability to use royal security services has been compromised after he lost his appeal against the Home Office's decision about the level of police protection he will receive when he visits the UK. Prince Harry's recent legal fight revolved around Rabeck's refusal to allow him to pay for police protection when he comes to visit England. Ever since he and Meghan stepped back from their positions as working royals, Harry and Meghan have been living in the US along with their alleged children. The UK government's position is that his security expenses while he's in the UK should be self-funded, except of course on official royal occasions or when he's accompanying his family. And I absolutely agree with this viewpoint. Harry needs to pay for everything by himself when he comes back to the UK. After all, he came to the US. I guess he's paying taxes in the US now. So why on earth should British taxpayers be footing the security bill for Harry? I think it was good news when court documents released last week revealed that his appeal of the ruling was rejected by the judge, and also his request to pay only 40% of the government costs, which exceeded £500,000. Instead, the judge has ordered Harry to pay 90%, which means that Harry's now facing estimated costs of about £1 million, including his own legal fees. The source said Harry is extremely disappointed by the decisions made regarding his security. Okay, well, Harry might be upset and disappointed, but I don't think the people of Britain are. I also don't think Harry has any right to act all disappointed and shocked. I mean, he should have been preparing himself for this ending. He really cannot predict anything accurately, I guess. So, Harry, I guess you can continue to wallow in your sadness, but the people are pretty happy. Harry is an immigrant in the US at this point, but he's claiming that he still has all kinds of rights in the UK. I mean, what status does he think he has? Anyway, Harry has made an announcement that he's still dedicated to Invictus and its participants. So this upcoming 10th anniversary service commemorates a whole decade since the launch of this initiative. Apparently, Prince Harry is still finalizing his attendance plans, and he has made it clear that he's going to consider a virtual appearance if the available security arrangements don't meet his standards. Honestly, this whole security story is getting really old. It is kind of funny, though, how Harry keeps going on and on about these security threats that nobody else can see. And I do wonder, is it true that Harry's locked in discussions, or is he just pitching a fit in the floor like a little baby? I do wish he would shut up about this whole safety issue. Harry is a lot safer in Britain than most people. Most people don't get to ride around in bulletproof cars. Most people don't get protected by guards all around them. So what exactly are his security concerns? Is he scared after all his traitorous behavior that maybe not everybody loves him anymore? Or is he worried, perhaps, about bragging about killing members of the Taliban? Because if that's what it's all about, he's no safer in the US than he is in the UK. Another question I have is this: why is it safe enough for him to head to Britain for his court cases, but everything else requires top-level security? No, this is about Harry trying to get his way. His court case had no legal basis. It was simply a precursor to Harry trying to get internationally protected person status. So why do I say it didn't have any legal basis? Well, because Harry has been living overseas since 2023. It was really 3 years prior. In 2023, though, it became official. Harry doesn't work for the UK anymore. But strangely enough, he still believes that he is entitled to UK taxpayer-funded protection for every trip he makes. So it's all becoming crystal clear if you ask me. All this talk about heading to the UK was always a big fat lie. I don't believe that Harry or Meghan ever really wanted to come. It's all about security. They've read all the public response, and so they don't want to face the reception that they deserve. That's what this is all about. So Harry, don't worry about making another video. It's not necessary. If you don't want to show up, don't bother making a video. I mean, just imagine being so scared that your narcissistic, evil bully of a wife is going to leave you. Obviously, Harry knows all about her past. He knows what she has done to her family members, to her ex-friends. She just dumps them when they're no longer useful. And he suspects that he's going to be next. Well, he probably will be next. It says a lot that Harry is so worried about what Meghan might think that he's willing to forego a visit with his own family and also forget about an opportunity to participate in this Invictus Games event that he's supposed to care so much about just because Meghan might not like it. What a baby. Now, especially, the depth of feeling against him and Meghan was pretty clear at the Jubilee. The tension was palpable in the air at the Jubilee, and then things were even worse at the funeral for the late Queen. Every time Harry comes to Britain, I think things get worse and worse. He feels like he needs security to protect him from the public, who would just love to let him know what they really think of him. He has caused so much unnecessary stress to his family and really to all Brits. I think back in the old days, Harry would have been locked in the tower. He would have been thrown in the tower, and then he probably would have been hanged. If you ask me, though, it's great news if Harry decides not to come. I hope that Invictus can go back to what it's supposed to be. With the press focused on the veterans, that's who it's supposed to be all about. And as for his security concerns, I mean, in spite of all these court cases causing more unnecessary expense for taxpayers, Harry's really supposedly scared about his lack of security. Well, maybe he should have considered that before he bragged about killing Taliban members. I mean, not only does that increase his risk of becoming a target, but increases the risk of anybody who's anywhere close to him at any public event. Harry shows a real inability or perhaps a refusal to understand the consequences of his behavior. I mean, his wittering away about his lack of security, it seems to have a lot more to do with the loss of his feeling important at times when he was in a security motorcade than anything else. Harry's the one who chose to walk away from the responsibilities of being a working member of the royal family. So maybe it's time he faces the consequences of that decision. Instead, maybe William can come, and I think that donations would increase. William's also not going to build a foundation for private jets and luxury accommodation and clothes for Catherine. I think all that money would be used to support the real veterans if William were to come instead of Harry. Harry is simply not one of them. I think Brits at this point in time basically all love and trust William a lot more than they do Harry. I also don't know why Harry still believes himself to be so special, so important. I mean, he's not all that special. Attempts to convince himself that he's really important, I think, are falling flat. Very few people care, so it looks like safety and security shouldn't be an issue, unless, of course, he's just afraid of being booed and laughed at. Harry and Meghan, though, have created all these problems for themselves, and it's time for them to live in reality. It seems like they're shocked that they're considered normal people and they're expected to pay for everything. Well, of course they are. They were the ones who said they just wanted to be normal, independent citizens. Nobody is going to miss Harry, though. There's simply no going back from all the lies he told in the book and the interviews, the Mock You series. And you know, if Harry were to come, Meghan would insist on tagging along and make the whole event about her. I guess he thinks everybody is as dumb as he is. I mean, he's worried about security in the country where he was raised. The reality, though, is that he lives in California. That's a state that has over 20 million registered firearms, and it's in a country that has over 400 million. Who knows how many unregistered guns are floating around out there? At the recent pre-Invictus event in Vancouver, Harry wasn't worried about security, obviously. He and that nasty witch were booed in Vancouver, and that's all the insecurity they really experienced. I mean, all this nonsense that Harry tries to stir up about his security is ridiculous. He uses these security woes to make himself feel important. Maybe he needs to stay home in that Montecito McMansion, and he can act like he's king of the McMansion. If Harry expects security when he travels outside the mansion, well, he's got to pay for it himself. I can't believe it. I mean, the source said Harry is extremely disappointed by the decisions made regarding his security. His request for security was not just for his personal safety, but also for his family, the public, and the officers assigned to him. God. I mean, no, the above is not true. This guy is absolutely a joke. He's so selfish, and what he really wants is IPP status, which he's not going to get. And the reason he's not going to get it is because he's not entitled to it. Now, an internationally protected person would mean taxpayer-funded police security for Harry and his family wherever they go for the rest of their lives. And it would also give them immunity from prosecution abroad and the right to sequester information. That's something this man should never have access to, considering everything he put in that disgusting book Spare. And what about the invisible children? He only brings them up when he's trying to distract people from the issues. Supposedly, Harry is wanting the kids to appear in some Netflix episodes. Is that real, though? Or is he just saying that, and then on the day of filming, he's going to come up with some pathetic excuse? I mean, even a stupid reason could be he's going to use the excuse that it's Archofficial's birthday the next day, and so he's got to stay home helping Meghan make a lemon cake or whatever. Remember all the people that she sent the free jam to? I wonder if there's going to be a new photo of Archofficial. Princess Catherine, after all, published Louis's birthday photo, so I'm sure Meghan is going to have some new photo of Archofficial, the back of his head, maybe the bottom of a foot this time. But are they going to dare do something public like Catherine, Princess of Wales? I don't think so. The only thing Harry and Meghan are good at is trying to blackmail the king. This is all about blackmailing Charles and to make him intervene, to force the Home Office to give him the security that he wants. I think it would be a great idea if Harry just attended the event through Zoom or made a pre-recorded video message. That's enough, and then William can come in person. Harry, you also need to understand that the universe does not revolve around you when you're complaining. You're also not necessary, you're not wanted. So let the veterans at Invictus take the limelight for once. Let them earn the much-deserved rewards. Now, I also saw something a few days ago claiming that Invictus has asked Mike Tyndall to take over Harry's place. Boy, wouldn't that be a great idea? I guess they're just done with Meghan Markle parading around, making the event all about her. They're done with paying their extravagant expenses for simply showing up. And so now, today, we're hearing that Harry's considering not coming at all because he's not able to get free security. Well, it sounds to me like maybe Invictus really has ditched him because of all the drama that he and Meghan bring. I mean, honestly, last time they were there, apparently they had a loud argument at the airport and they were asked to leave. And then they went to a restaurant where, again, they got into some big fight and they had to leave through the back door. I can only imagine how awful Meghan Markle is to the staff at Invictus behind the scenes. Her reputation certainly does precede her. Meghan Markle, after all, is infamous for her bullying ways. We can never trust a thing they say, though. It's funny to me how Harry and Meghan feel perfectly safe traveling all around the world. No security worries when they head to Kingston, Jamaica, for example. But supposedly, Harry's so worried about coming to the games on May 8th. What a load of BS. Sounds to me like Meghan Markle has put her foot down and told him in no uncertain terms that she and the kids are not going to go, so neither can he. He can just video record his message, it's good enough. I mean, just look at all the money that would be saved if the two of them stay home. No expensive private jet, no expensive hotel, no expensive ill-fitting designer clothing for Meghan Markle. All that money can be given to the veterans, which is who it should go to in the first place. And I'm sure they're going to love not having to watch Meghan Markle do all her clothing changes and walk around like somebody cares, make the photographers zero in on her and her rictus grin. Harry is not going to be missed by the royal family or the veterans. I also read somewhere that William made a big donation while Harry was just using the Invictus money to spend on Meghan's outfits and private jets. There are no threats against them. They just want to be seen as more important than what they really are. They want the security, they want the flashing bulbs to make them seem relevant. They're a couple of nobodies. Meghan has now been reduced to selling jam online. I mean, come on. To me, it's not at all surprising that Harry doesn't want to come back to the UK. He is scared of the reception he's going to get. He should be. So what are the Invictus trustees and other officials going to do? What would they think of having Harry as a patron? This man baby who's too afraid to attend a church service that they themselves are going to be at. Or could it be that he's scared of that $500,000 bill he's going to get from the government to pay for the court costs in his frivolous lawsuit that he filed? Harry, maybe it really is time to step away from Invictus. I mean, if you're too scared to travel to the venues without the host government covering your security costs, then I'd say it's time to let somebody like Mike and Zara Tyndall take over. Let them handle it. The best thing for Invictus would be if they found somebody who they don't have to pay for everything for. The expenses are just over the top. And Harry has to know that William certainly didn't abandon Invictus. He did the right thing when he stepped back and he let Harry take over. Harry, William, and Catherine were all part of founding the Invictus Games. And as for security, this is a person who supposedly served in the military for 10 years, serving in Afghanistan. We know he was Bunker Harry, but whatever. He is willing to make out that the UK is so unsafe while he lives in a country with a really extreme gun culture and increasing numbers of gun massacres. Harry, just give it a rest. It's more about him pouting and sulking in the corner because he feels like he's been wronged. He doesn't appreciate the court ruling. Well, he can have his security if he applies to Ravag with 28 days notice and they decide that he needs it. And if not, well, he's going to have to deal with the security that he can pay for himself. His cousins are basically all on equal standing to him, maybe a notch or two further down the ladder, but they all continue their daily lives without any extra security, except, of course, when they're on royal engagements. The trouble with Harry, though, is that he is so entitled, so spoiled. But if that really is his decision to just not participate, well, fine. I don't think anybody's going to be upset about that. I don't think anybody wants him back anyway. Harry must have had such a difficult life to be so scared of everything. I swear, he's acting like he's some kind of refugee, but he's not wanted, he's not needed. He's such a burden to the security agencies and police force because of his statements of killing Taliban members like they were chess pieces. And for a change, I think it would be great if the athletes and volunteers of Invictus were the center of attention instead of Harry and Meghan, so stay home. Go ahead and practice your eco-traveling preaching. If you don't teach yourself, you're certainly not going to be qualified to teach anybody else. And also, I don't think the world can stand to see another Meghan Markle fashion show. God, I feel sick just thinking about it. Honestly, they have no problem traveling to other countries with their current security arrangements. And it's no secret that Harry's primary residence now is in the US. He had to register his permanent address when he was kicked out of Frogmore, and that was done last June. Harry has been living in Montecito with his family since last summer, and everybody knows it. For 4 years now, he's been living in Montecito, and the last time his family actually used Frogmore was in 2022, but they haven't really lived there since 2020. Or maybe the real reason Harry's refusing to come to the UK is because Meghan isn't letting him. I think she really is abusive towards him. She's not going to allow him to come. She's going to fill his ginger head with all kinds of made-up stories, and he might be worried that if he leaves the US for this visit, he might be refused re-entry if the suspicions of his honesty in the visa form and the drug use history continue. Either he lied on the visa application or he told a lie in the book. It doesn't really matter which one it is. Either way, he lied. But then we see William, heir to the throne, going to the pub with his mother-in-law, and he didn't experience any problems for anybody. And whatever security he did have was quiet. They were in the background. And then we have Harry pitching a fit because nobody's going to pay for him to appear more important than he really is, and to tell the truth, ever was. If he really wanted to be in the UK for the Invictus Games anniversary, I'm pretty sure he could easily come into the country quietly, privately. He could get to St. Paul's Cathedral with no problems, but he wants as much fuss and attention as possible, and so he informs the media beforehand so that they'll be there. I hope that he stays in the US forever because the veterans do not need him. They don't need him trying to steal the focus away from them. And, the thing is, they don't need the fashion show from Meghan Markle either, and they also do not need to pay for their outlandish expenses. And let's be real, Harry has only made money off trashing his family, so he's got to use the money earned in this despicable way to pay for his own security. It's going to be as if the family was paying. Harry was also careless and reckless enough to brag about the number of people he supposedly killed, and so he's the one who put himself in danger. Harry, the best thing for everybody is for you to just stay home. Nobody wants you, nobody needs you. Your father is always going to love you, sure. But at this point in time, I don't see how he could like you very much, so just stay far away and let the royals enjoy some peace and quiet. If Harry doesn't come, I'm sure the Invictus people are not going to mind, because if he comes, he's going to make it all about himself. And if Meghan is with him, things are going to be much worse. Invictus is going to have to use their hard-earned funds to pay for Harry's travel, the hotel, the security costs, and of course, Meghan's wardrobe. If they don't come, then Invictus can actually make it all about the veterans. The best thing is if the two of them stay put in Montecito. Harry should consider it an honor anyway to have the opportunity to show up at an event like that promoting the games and people who were injured in service. For him to whine so much about security like a little baby because he didn't get his way, it is not only embarrassing for him, but honestly connecting the two is such a slap in the face to people who have sacrificed so much, while all Harry had to do was sacrifice a few hours of his time. It looks like, though, that was too much for him to handle. People already despise Harry, but recently they have started despising him even more. Not only because he whines about the country's security, but because he's also an evil person. I mean, let's think about what he did to that poor pregnant mare. He tortured her until she died. Harry knows good and well that he has Met Police protection when he needs it when he's in the UK. So if a risk assessment determines that armed guards are necessary, then they'll provide them too. Harry's no longer a resident of the UK. He doesn't contribute anything to the country, but he expects the taxpayers to foot the bill for his security. So basically, he's trying to find a way to get IPP status even though he doesn't deserve it, so that he can get immunity in the US for any crimes he commits. And he wants the American taxpayers to also pay for his security bill too. We're getting more and more of these Diddy revelations coming out though, so I think it's important that Harry's not given immunity. We still haven't discovered if he really partied with Diddy or not. And also his visa issues are still unresolved, and immunity with IPP status for a low-ranking celebrity and his wife like Harry and Meghan is inappropriate and completely unprecedented. Now, if Harry wants to let the veterans down and make a video link, I think that's just fine. I think somehow they'll be okay. What about you? What do you think about the issues we just talked about in this video? Don't hesitate to share your opinion in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching our video, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye for now, and I'll be back to see you again soon in other videos on the Queen channel.